collides. I'm your host, Lance Forrest.
Welcome to the Rhythm of Love show, where love, dreams, dance, and life collides. I'm your host, Lance Forrest, creator of Rhythm of Love, the musical, and I'm really glad you're here. Now, whether you're listening in the car, at the gym, walking the dog, hiding from your kids for 5 minutes, or pretending to work, don't worry. Your secret is safe with me. Here's what I want you to know about this podcast. This isn't a place where anyone has all the answers. If it did, I'd probably be on a beach somewhere collecting royalties instead of talking into this mic. But seriously, this is a space where we can ask better questions together. We're going to talk about relationships, the ones that inspire us and the ones that make us wonder, what was I thinking when writing this Rhythm of Love? We'll talk about family, purpose, chasing dreams, heartbreak, healing, success, failure, faith, music, creativity, and everything in between. Because life isn't lived in a neat little category. It's messy. It's beautiful. It's unpredictable. And somehow, it all has a rhythm. Have you ever noticed that? Some seasons feel like you're going across the dance floor. Everything just clicks. Opportunities show up, relationships are healthy, your confidence is high. Then there are those seasons the music changes without warning. You miss a step, you lose someone, a dream takes longer than expected. Life throws you completely off beat. The real question isn't whether life will knock you off rhythm. It will. The question is, what do you do next? Do you sit on the sidelines or do you find your rhythm again? That's what this podcast is all about. Today, I want to take you behind the scenes and share with you Rhythm of Love and where it really came from. Every story has an origin, and this one has been over 20 years in the making. You're listening to Rhythm of Love. It's a vibe.
The battle with my father, it's a fight every day. I'm going to stay out of his way to keep the peace, especially when it comes to my dance and my heart's release. He sees it as a battle, a clash of wills and pride, but deep down, I know my passion can't be denied. You see, I found the power of my voice through dance, speaking volumes with each step, taking a chance.
Why did I spend years writing a musical about love and dance? What inspired the story? Why does it still matter to me today? And why do I believe there's a dancer inside every single one of us, even if the only dancing you do is trying to avoid stepping on Lego bricks in your living room? See, when I say dancers, I'm not just talking about choreography. I'm talking about movement, growth, resilience, the courage to keep showing up when life doesn't go according to plan. Because every one of us is dancing with something. Maybe you're dancing with a new career. Maybe you're dancing with grief. Maybe you're learning to love again after disappointment. Maybe you're simply trying to become the person you know you're capable of being. Whatever your rhythm looks like, this space is for you. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's have a real conversation. This isn't just my story. It's our story. Take a moment, catch your breath. We'll be right back because every great story deserves a pause before the next beat. So, if you made it this far, we officially consider you part of the Rhythm of Love family. This podcast is all about real conversations, love, relationships, music, dance, chasing your dreams, learning from your mistakes, and occasionally asking, what in the world was I thinking? We've all been there. Rhythm of Love. It's a vibe. It was inspired by my stage production, Rhythm of Love, the musical, and every episode is about keeping it real. No scripts, no pretending, just authentic conversation that makes you laugh, think, and maybe even see life a little differently. If you're interested in partnering with us or becoming a sponsor, we'd love to connect. Shoot us an email at fsproduction67@gmail.com. Send us a DM on Instagram at fs_production67. YouTube at Rhythm of Love PD. Find us on TikTok at Rhythm of Love PD, or simply reach out right here on this platform. All the links are in the bio. Because let's be honest, nobody remembers all that after hearing it once. Until next time, keep loving, keep living, keep dancing, and remember, it's not just a podcast, it's a vibe. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had a dream that refused to leave you alone? You know the kind. You grow older, life gets busier, responsibilities pile up, but somehow that dream keeps tapping you on the shoulder, almost whispering, "I'm still here." That's exactly what happened to me. About 20 years ago, I had what I call only described as a vision. I wanted to create a musical, not just entertainment, not just people singing and dancing, crossing a stage. I wanted to tell a story that felt real, a story about ordinary people chasing ordinary dreams, people who loved deeply, failed publicly, questioned themselves, started over, and somehow kept moving, because that's life. And to me, dance has always been one of the greatest metaphors for life. Think about it. Every dance has timing. Every relationship has timing. Every career has timing. Sometimes your partner knows the next step. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're the leading. Sometimes you're following. Sometimes somebody steps on your foot. If you've even been in a relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you don't stop dancing. You adjust. You communicate. You find the rhythm again. That's where Rhythm of Love was born. Not from choreography, but from life itself. I made a promise to myself that one day this story would come to life on stage, no matter how long it took. I was committed to bringing Rhythm of Love to stage. Here's something many people don't know about me. I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey. Growing up, I didn't come from money. We had what we needed, but not always what we wanted. As a teenager, I dreamed about attending the School of Performing Arts in Center City, Philadelphia. To me, that school represented possibilities, it represented creativities, it represented the future. I imagined myself. The problem, getting there wasn't simple. There was transportation issues, there was tuition, there was financial reality my parents simply couldn't overcome. And here's something I think a lot of people can relate to. Sometimes your family believe in you, but they don't have the resources to support you or your dreams. Those are two very different things. I never blame my parents. They were doing what parents do, trying to make sure we had stability. Sometimes survival has to come before dreams. That doesn't make anyone a villain. It's just life. So I stayed where I was. I focused on school. I focused on sports. I did what seemed practical and what everyone expected. But inside, I never stopped. Never stopped watching dancers. I never stopped studying movement. I never stopped imagining stories because movement fascinated me. Not just physically, emotionally, or spiritually, movement says things words can't. Sometimes a hug says more than a conversation. Sometimes a dance says more than apology. Sometimes silence says everything. That's what kept me pulling toward storytelling. Because sometimes most important characters or chapters of our lives aren't spoken, they're lived. Stay with me. We'll be right back after this short break.
I refuse to let you walk down that road where there's disappointment and people so cold. I carried you for 9 months with love and care, and for 9 more I'll be there as well.
Watch you from afar, a radiant soul shining bright. Oh, beautiful young lady, blossoming with all your might. There's so much you need to know.
Welcome back. You know, when I think back on those years, I realized something. I wasn't just missing an opportunity, I was learning patience. Now, I didn't appreciate that lesson back then, but back then I was thinking, this isn't fair. Why can't I go? Why does everyone else get the opportunity? Have you ever asked yourself those questions? I think we all have. Sometimes we compare our beginning to someone else's middle. Sometimes we think the dream has expired simply because it didn't happen on our timeline. But here's what I've learned. A delayed dream isn't always a denied dream. Sometimes this life is preparing you for something bigger than you could have handled at 18. Looking back now, I realize if I had gone then, I might never have lived the experience that eventually became Rhythm of Love. The heartbreak, the friendships, the disappointments, the victories, the lessons, those experiences became the script. Life became my writing partner. And maybe that's true for you too. Maybe the things you've been frustrated about is actually preparing you for the thing you're eventually called to do. That's a different way of looking at disappointment. I grew up in the 70s during a time when arts, especially dance, weren't always encouraged for young men. There were expectations, people had opinions. You learned pretty quickly to develop thick skin, especially if you wanted to do something different. I've always been someone who thought beyond what was directly in front of me. I just needed room to express it. Even when I couldn't see the entire path, I could still imagine the destination. That imagination became hope. And hope kept the dream alive. Take a moment, catch your breath. We'll be right back because every great story deserves a pause before the next beat.
What kind of manager would I be if I didn't go and watch over my store clients? Come on, everyone. It's a joyful time to toast to the moments that make us feel alive. But oh, I've made a faux pas. I confess. Only brought 2 glasses. What a little mess. Pardon-moi, my dear, for this oversight. Don't worry not, I'll fix it. I'll make it right. Champagne for everyone. Let's bubble flow. We'll share the laughter that our tears grow. Here's a laugh for you, my friend. And one for me. Together we'll celebrate in unity.
You know, people ask me from time to time, Lance, you've been working on Rhythm of Love for over 20 years. Why does it still matter to you? The simple answer is because the message is just as relevant today as it was when I first imagined it. When I started writing Rhythm of Love, I thought I was creating a musical. Looking back now, I realized I was really writing a question I didn't yet have the answers to. What does success really look like? Can you chase your dreams without losing the people you love? How do you balance ambition with relationships? How do you keep moving when life knocks you off your feet? Those weren't just questions for my characters. They were questions for me. Over the years, life has given me experiences I couldn't have imagined. I've celebrated victories, faced disappointments, started over more than once. reinvented myself, and discovered that purpose isn't something you find overnight. It's something you continue to grow into. As I've changed the musical, it has changed with me. Every revision, every rehearsal, every performance has been influenced by something I've lived. That's why the characters feel so real to me. They're not perfect people. They're people trying to figure out life just like the rest of us. Kadish taught me about the cost of ambition. Elizabeth reminded me that success doesn't always fill the empty places in your heart. The relationships in the story challenged me to think about communication, forgiveness, sacrifice, and what it really means to love someone. In many ways, I wasn't just writing them, they were writing me. And maybe that's why I could never walk away from this project. There were seasons when life became busy, seasons when other responsibilities took priority, moments when I questioned whether I'd ever see this production on stage. But every time I stepped away, something kept pulling me back. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about applause. It wasn't even about producing a musical. It was about sharing a story that I believed could encourage someone else to keep believing in their own dreams. Then something incredible happened. After more than 2 decades of writing, revising, dreaming, and refusing to quit, Rhythm of Love finally made it to stage. Watching the actors breathe life into these characters, hearing the audience laugh, become emotional, and connect with moments that had once existed only in my head or in my imagination. That was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. It reminded me that dreams don't always arrive on our schedule. Sometimes they take years. Sometimes they require patience, growth, and perseverance. The show also taught me something I didn't expect. People didn't just see themselves in the story, they saw hope. After performances, audiences members shared stories about their own relationships, families, dreams, and struggles. They talked about moments in the show that mirrored their own lives. That's when I realized Rhythm of Love had become bigger than me. It had become a conversation. And that's exactly why this podcast exists. The stage allowed me to tell the story. This podcast allows us to continue the conversation. Every guest, every episode, every question we explore is another opportunity to talk honestly about love, purpose, resilience, family, identity, and the courage to keep moving when life changes the music. So why does Rhythm of Love still matter to me today? Because people are still searching for connection. They're still trying to discover who they are. They're still wondering if it's too late to pursue the dream they've tucked away. They're still learning how to love, how to forgive, how to heal, and how to find balance between success and fulfillment. Those conversations never go out of style. If Rhythm of Love inspires just one person to dust off an old dream, to have an honest conversation with someone they care about, or to believe that their story isn't over yet, then every year I spent creating it was worth it. That's why I continue to tell this story, because Rhythm of Love isn't just about the characters on stage. It's about all of us. We're all learning. We're all growing. We're all trying to find our rhythm. And as long as people are searching for purpose, hope, and connection, Rhythm of Love will always matter. So, here's the question I want to leave you with today. What dream have you convinced yourself is over, when maybe it's just been waiting? Because that's exactly what happened to me. That dream never disappeared. It just simply waited until I had enough life experience to tell the story honestly. And one day, that little idea became Rhythm of Love, the musical. Not just a musical, not just a podcast, but a conversation. A reminder that even when life changes the music, you can still find your rhythm again. And if nobody has told you lately, your story isn't over. It may just be entering its next act. And trust me, we're just getting started. So if I've never made it to that performing arts school, how did a kid from Camden eventually write an award-winning musical? That's where the story gets interesting. We'll pick up there next time.
It's how we find